Good morning. Good morning. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Hopefully, you all had a good Tuesday. It was okay for me. I was wrong about the Bucks, clearly. Thought that they would win a little bit bigger. Um, you know, they only won by 5. I think we had what did we have it at? 6.5. So that was a little bit unfortunate. I was right about Mo Wagner though. So that was good. But yeah, overall, it's kind of like 1-1 in that game. Luka played terribly and did not triple double. If he would have started off hot, I think he would have had a chance to do it. I mean, he had 16, 11, and 5, but the assists were just lacking to start out, so that kind of affected things. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, huge game, 39 points, 8 boards, 5 dimes, and the Thunder move on. We have 2 more NBA Cup games tonight. The Atlanta Hawks and New York Knicks, and then the Golden State Warriors and Houston Rockets. If you guys have followed along for the entirety of the NBA Cup, you know that we have a 16-1 ticket on the Golden State Warriors to win the NBA Cup. They're sitting at 8-1 right now. They're underdogs in this game, so on the road. I'm gonna be rooting, for the Warriors tonight. I don't think I'll hedge, but I'll think about it for the rest of the day. Yeah, Suggs went off last night. Had him on my FanDuel team. Wanted to play him on DraftKings, but I couldn't really make him fit with how the pricing was. But yeah, so that's Suggs is someone I would look at moving forward. He has like a 27-28% usage rate with Banchero and Franz Wagner off the floor. So he's going to contribute across the board, but I mean, he was playing really well last night, so that helped out. If he's not making his shots, I don't think he'll be doing what he did last night, but he's going to contribute across the board while those guys are out. Jim, thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you have a good Wednesday. But yeah, so we have a 16-1 ticket on the Warriors. I don't think I'm going to hedge, but I'll think about it. I don't know. I feel like they can beat the Rockets, though. Like, I don't know. I'll have to think about it. Hawks Knicks should be really fun. I think this is going to be a close game. The spread's 8 points. Has this tourney improved NBA ratings? I don't know. I would have to check. I know the ratings haven't been good, but so every week on the Rolling Insights YouTube channel, Steve and I put out a podcast, and it's like 30 to 40 minutes. It's mostly just us talking about random things. We'll talk about NFL or whatever, but we actually got in a long conversation about streaming. I think that was last week or the week. I think it was the week before, 2 weeks ago. So we got in a long conversation about streaming, and I was kind of asking him like what his opinion was on it because the ratings are terrible, but I don't know, like, and this is for any sport, like the NFL ratings are always going to go up, up, up because people are just going to watch football. So that's a little bit different. But for like basketball specifically, basketball does a better job than the MLB in terms of the social media aspect of it. Like clips and stuff get so many views in comparison to how the MLB handles their social media. So I don't know, like if we can ever get an accurate representation of the NBA ratings, and then you also have to bake in, the people that are going on, whatever streaming website and just like watching it illegally. And that's not to say that the ratings aren't, bad. I'm not saying they're not. I'm just saying I don't know if we can ever get an accurate representation because at the end of the day, the TV networks, they just re-upped with the NBA for a massive contract. Like, what even was it? It was like $1 billion, like huge contract the networks just gave the NBA. So to me, if they were really concerned about the ratings being bad, I don't think they would give out deals like that. But I could be wrong in that aspect too. I don't know. Like, that's not really my background. But just food for thought, like, if they were really concerned about the ratings, like, why would they pay, like, record deals for the games, you know? I don't know. I don't know. So, I don't know if we'll ever get an accurate, like, representation of the games and stuff. But it's definitely an interesting talking point. Me personally, Guru, to answer your question though, I don't know if it affects the ratings. I am more inclined to watch an NBA game if it's NBA Cup or playoffs though, as opposed to, just a regular season game. I'm a little bit different though because of like, the amount of betting I do and DFS and stuff. Like I'm watching the games anyways, but I would say, like, I'm more interested in watching if it's NBA Cup or the playoffs for sure. Like, the NBA playoffs, you can say what you want about the NBA product, and I would pretty much agree, the quality has gone down as a whole. I think the playoffs are still great every year when we get to that point. It's such a long process. For the casual fan that doesn't watch nightly, it's such a long process to get to the playoffs. But I don't know. I would have to check the NBA Cup ratings. I'm not sure. I think this Hawks Knicks game is going to be close though. Trey Young always shows out in MSG. Like we know this is a narrative at this point, right? This has been multiple times. Trey Young has shown up in MSG. They have like Jalen Johnson, who's been playing exceptional basketball this season. So I kind of liked the Hawks team coming into the season. If you guys remember, I tweeted out my NBA futures. I took an over on the Hawks win total. I kind of liked this team coming into the year, so I think this game will be close. I would probably lean Hawks +8 if I were going to play a side. Definitely think the Knicks. I think the Knicks will win the game, but I think it's going to be close. So I would lean Hawks +8 if I were taking a side of this one. I think you could lean over 237.5 as well. And I'm looking at Trey Young and I'm looking at Karl Anthony Towns props. I think this is a big game for Towns, especially with how he's been playing. So if you wanted to do, like 25 plus points for Towns, it's -120. I think you could do that. Or you could pair up, 20. You could pair up, let's see here. You could do 20 points and you'd have to do, if you do 25 points and 10 rebounds, that would get you to plus money. Or if you just want to parlay his double-double with other things, I think that could be a parlay piece. But big game for Trey tonight, big game for Cat, I think. And I kind of like Hawks +8. In the next game, like I said, I don't know. I don't want to bet on the game since we have this ticket on the Warriors to win the cup. So I probably won't. If anything, I may bet the Rockets for just like a unit tonight, just to hedge a little bit, just in case. But I don't know. I think the Warriors can beat the Rockets, so I probably won't be betting anything there. And I'll just be sweating out our Warriors ticket. All right, I'm gonna fill out a CFP bracket, and then we'll take a quick look at NBA, not NBA, a quick look at NFL this weekend, just higher level thoughts on the games. Tomorrow I'll be live, same time, and we'll go over Thursday night football. All right, Clemson, Texas. I'm taking Clemson, I'm taking Texas. Sorry. I told you guys yesterday, I think Texas completely rolls Clemson. I think it's going to be a massive blowout. So give me Texas over Clemson. Tennessee, Ohio State, similar thoughts. I don't think it's going to be a blowout because I don't know if I can trust Ryan Day to blow someone out. But I like Ohio State at home, coming off the bad loss. Tennessee's Nico in specific has struggled against good teams. Ohio State does have a good defense. It's probably going to be cold. Just a lot of factors working in Ohio State's favor here. So give me Ohio State in that one. I'm going to take Notre Dame over Indiana and just get that out of the way. And then SMU Penn State. Like I said, if there's any upset in the first round, I think it's going to be SMU over Penn State. If not, I think all the favorites will win. I'm going to have some fun since we're just filling out a bracket. I'm going to take SMU for the upset. This would be a hilarious quarterfinal matchup. So I was pretty high on Boise coming into the year. I almost bet them. I was on a stream sometime back in like August, and I was talking about teams that I thought could make the playoff for a group of 5. And Boise was on my list of like 4 teams. Like there was probably a point where I considered betting them to make the playoff before the season. I did bet SMU to make the playoff before the season. So the fact, like, if you would have asked someone in August to name the quarterfinal matchups, there is no way anyone would have had SMU, Boise State. Just a hilarious matchup this would be. All right. Get this off my screen. What is this? Texas, Arizona State. I love Arizona State. I do think they would be live in this game, but I'm not going to take them here. I'm going to take Texas, but man, people have said, Arizona State, they've gotten lucky. They've had close wins, but I mean, we backed them to beat Iowa State. They won that handily. They've been very good over the second half of the season. They have Cam Scatterbo, who they can just ride, which I like. So I'm going to take Texas. Texas will probably destroy them, but part of me just thinks Arizona State would maybe be live for a little bit of that game. Ohio State, Oregon. So I'm going to take Ohio State. Ohio State over Oregon. Ohio State was a favorite in Oregon earlier this season. They almost won. They were driving down the field to win, and they called offensive pass interference on Jeremiah Smith, and that prevented them from trying to kick a field goal to win. So, yeah, I think Ohio State, if we get this, in the Rose Bowl, neutral field, Ohio State, Oregon, in the Coliseum, I think Ohio State would be favored in this game. So, I'm going to take Ohio State there. SMU Boise. I'm going to take SMU. Like I said, I like SMU because Penn State SMU is a good run defense, and Penn State really doesn't have the receivers that I'm scared of. Drew Aller is a good quarterback, but I'm just not scared of Penn State's receivers. If you can stop Warren, I think you can beat this Penn State team. Same thing, good run defense. Now, good run defense is not going to stop Ashton Jeanty. Ashton Jeanty is going to do what Ashton Jeanty does, and I could be on the wrong side of history, just fading him. But yeah, I think SMU. I'm going to take SMU as my sleeper of this bracket. I also think it would be hilarious for SMU to make it this far after the only thing that you've heard about the college football playoff, at least for me, the only thing I've heard is Penn State got the easiest draw of all time. Penn State got the easiest draw. That's all people say. Like, it would just be so iconic for Penn State to lose in the first round after all people have said is they got the easiest draw of all time. Like, God, please let SMU beat them. That would be hilarious. And then I'm going to take Georgia over Notre Dame. I think this I actually think would be a close game, but I still don't trust, very similar to Ryan Day, I don't trust Marcus Freeman in a big game. He's been better this year, but I still don't trust it. So I'm going to go Georgia over Notre Dame there. Texas, Ohio State, Quinn Ewers versus former team would be pretty cool. I'm going to take Ohio State, though. And then I'm going to take Georgia over SMU. So, potential rematch of the playoff. What was that, like 3 years ago? Ohio State, Georgia. Oh, man. I want to pick Ohio State. Man, I don't know. I'm going to pick Georgia, but I actually, honest to God, I've talked about that. I talked about this yesterday. Ryan Day just has a mental block playing against Michigan. I think he can have more success in a setting like this. The reason I'm gonna pick Georgia, though, I trust Kirby Smart more than him. I don't really trust Will Howard. I don't know. Ohio State, I think, is gonna go on a run or they're gonna lose to Tennessee. I don't know if there's an in between. Like, I don't think they'll if they win this game, I think they're gonna at least get to the semis, but we'll see if I'm wrong. But I'm gonna take Georgia over Ohio State in the national title game. I think ESPN has this like bracket challenge, so go ahead. You guys can go fill this out on your own. I'm going to pull up. See here. I'm gonna pull Sport-Wise up. Let's look at some of these games here for this weekend. Thursday night, fun game, 49ers Rams. McVay and Shanahan is always, fun. The total's pretty high at 49.5. Rams are 2.5-point underdogs, but you can see we kind of have a negative differential for San Fran here. So a little bit of a lean towards the Rams in this one, but that's a good Thursday night game. They've played some epic games against each other on Thursday night before as well. There's been some high scoring San Francisco and Rams Thursday night games. We also have Miami and Houston. That's a fun game with a 46.5 total. Buccaneers Chargers is a fun game with a 46.5 total. Steelers Eagles is really good. Eagles are -5.5 at home. Think that's interesting. And then the game of the weekend, there's two games of the weekend in my opinion, and it's one at 4:25, which is Buffalo Detroit, obviously 54.5 total. 1.5 points. Lines are -1.5 at home. Huge game there. And then the Sunday night game, potential playoff preview, Seattle, Green Bay. Seattle's +2.5 at home. Would love these are if I was ranking NFC teams, I would put oh man, let me think about this. If I was ranking NFC teams, I'm gonna do an update. I'll do a video later. I'm gonna update our power rankings because I built that power rankings formula. I'm gonna refresh that and I'll post a video later today discussing it. I'm curious to see if anything changed last week. But if I was ranking NFC teams, I would go Detroit. Detroit and Philly are 1A, 1B for me. So Detroit/Philly for 1-2, whatever combo, like whatever positioning you want to put those in. Those are the top two. After that, though, it's Vikings, Seattle, and Green Bay for me. How I would rank those, I think I'd go Green Bay 3. But I don't, it's like, I don't even want to rank them because I think those three teams are all like very close to me. Like people are underrating Seattle. People underrated Seattle coming into the season, in my opinion. Since their bye week, they're top 3 to 4 in most defensive metrics. They've been very good defensively. And then that they have playmakers on offense, right? DK Metcalf, Jackson Smith, and Jigba's completely come into his own. Zach Charbonnet looked fantastic. And then when Kenneth Walker's healthy, they have him. Like it's a good offense. And now they have this like really, really strong defense to go along with it. So I think people are underrating Seattle. I think Green Bay is a very good team. And I think Minnesota is a good team as well. And they have Minnesota most games has a very big edge in the coaching department between Kevin O'Connell and Brian Flores. Really hard to combat that. It's one of the best, arguably that's the best coaching duo in my opinion in the NFL. That's not Kansas City. I would put, if I were ranking coaching duos, I would put Casey. I'd still put KC number 1. I would put Minnesota number 2, and I'd probably put Detroit number 3. At the end of the day, I like Ben Johnson, but I like Brian Flores a good bit more than Aaron Glenn. And Kevin O'Connell, Ben Johnson, both very good. So I would give the edge to Minnesota. So for coaching rankings, I would say KC number 1, Minnesota number 2, Detroit number 3, I think. I can't think of any like off the top of my head that are like really close to those. I mean, McVay is up there, Shanahan's up there, but no, I'm not. I'd put those guys in terms of overall coaching staff. I'd have those behind the 3 I just named. All right. Overall, though, quicker stream today. Filled out the CFP bracket. Like I said, I'm gonna do a video later talking power rankings. I'm gonna refresh my data space and see what it tells me. For NBA tonight, if you join late, I like the Hawks +8, but I like the Knicks to win the game. If you're doing same game parlays, I'm looking at Trae Young and I'm looking at a big game for Karl Anthony Towns. I kind of like him 25 plus points at -120. I'll probably bet that. And then in the night NBA game, I'm not betting it because I have a 16-1 ticket on the Warriors to win the NBA Cup. If anything, I might put 1 unit on the Rockets money line just a hedge. But thank you guys for tuning in. Appreciate you. Good luck in your bets tonight. Good luck in anything else you're doing tonight. I'll be live tomorrow, 11 a.m. We will preview Thursday Night Football and give out some bets and some touchdown picks. So if Miami and Indy lose, the AFC is set right pretty much, I think. Yeah, I don't. Denver would have to go on like an epic losing streak. Let me pull that up. Playoff picture. I think Denver would have to like lose out for any. If those two teams lose, Denver would have to do something crazy. Or the Chargers, either one. You know. Actually, I guess any of those teams because they're all 8-5. So you'd need one of those 4 8-5 teams to go on like some crazy losing streak. But yeah, if they lose, they're pretty much the AFC's pretty much set in stone. NFC could get a little wonky here because it's kind of a battle between Tampa and Atlanta for that division. And then you have the Commanders at 8-5. The Rams are right there at 7-6. And then the Seahawks, the Rams and the Seahawks are battling for that division. The Bucks and the Falcons are battling. So there's some more room for some chaos in the NFC. The AFC is pretty much set, it looks like, yes. Right now, we would have who gets a bye? Just the first seed, right? So we'd have right now, we'd have Bills, Chargers, Steelers, Broncos, Texans, Ravens. Texans, Ravens play on Christmas Day, don't they? So we're about to get a preview of that matchup next week, in like a week to week and a half. Man, I would take Steelers over Chargers, I think. Oh, no. Bills, Chargers. Man, Bills, Chargers would be so fun. I would take Steelers over Broncos. I would take Ravens over Texans. I would take Bills over Chargers, but that would be a fun game. For the NFC, I would take Eagles over the Commanders for sure. I would take Seattle over Green Bay, and I would take Minnesota over Tampa, I think. But Minnesota-Tampa, that would be a shootout for sure. Looks like some pretty good matchups right now. All right, thank you guys for tuning in. Also, Friday, you might be getting 2 streams because I'll stream at 11 like usual. I think I'm going on lines at lunch on noon or at noon. So if you guys have followed me, I go on Owner's Box streams a couple times. It's been a minute since I've been on there, but they asked me last week to come on and I couldn't. So I think I'm going this week. I'll have to message Sandy and just double check, but might be a double stream. You might get me at 11 and 12 on Friday. So tune into that. But thank you guys for tuning in. Good luck tonight. I'll be live tomorrow, 11 a.m. Thursday Night Football preview. I hope you all have a great day.